Starting potentially a new trilogy, director Danny Boyle returns to the zombie film that made him famous 28 days later. This is now the third installment, 28 years later. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new film 28 Years Later. This is still playing in theaters, but it is now available on demand for home viewing as well. And this is the third installment in the 28 series. We had 28 Days Later. That was in 2003. Then we had 28 Weeks Later. And now many, many years have gone by, and it's 28 years later. And this is going to start at least two movies. They're looking, I think, at a trilogy here. But they shot this one and the next one called The Bone Temple back to back. And so that will be released in January of 2026. But for now, we've got this one 28 years later. And we'll get to that in just a second. First, though, let me welcome you back to Dan Reviews It. If you are a subscriber to the channel already, thank you so much for that. I love it when you guys return to check out my content. But if you're not, please consider subscribing and click the notification bell as well. And of course, liking this video, commenting below, or sharing it on your social certainly helps the channel out. It helps people find my videos via the YouTube algorithm as well. So it is much appreciated. All right. So in preparation for 28 years, I rewatched the first two films in the franchise. The first one actually, at the time, was very hard to find. A few weeks ago, this was unavailable pretty much anywhere, but I had an old DVD of it. You can see my DVD collection is very vast, and so I watched it on DVD. But it is now on, I think it's Tubi, where you can watch it for free with commercials. So if you have not seen that first movie, 28 Days, in quite a while, or never before, you don't necessarily need to watch it to go into this one. This one really does sort of serve as a standalone story, as long as you know the basic premise that, there was a zombie apocalypse, 20 some years ago, and now here we are. I mean, that's all you kind of need to know, but it was kind of interesting to go back and rewatch those first two, because I remember liking the first one a lot more than I ended up enjoying it this time around. I was thinking at the time, like, oh, what a game changer, and I remembered it very fondly. This time around, I think it's probably more in like a B range for me. And then I remembered not really liking the second one. That one still holds water with me, that review. I would probably give that like a C- or something. It's just sort of a little all over the place. So that brings us now to the new one, 28 years later. So Danny Boyle back in the director's chair, and Alex Garland back as writer. He produced the second one. He did not write it, but they collaborated together on that first one as director and writer. And Alex Garland has gone on to do a lot of things, that have been great in the last 10 or 15 years, including Ex Machina and a great film from last year called Civil War. And then Danny Boyle, of course, went on to do one of my favorites in recent years, Slumdog Millionaire. But he also did 127 Hours right around that same time, which was great. This is easily his best film, though, since those. So now we're talking, 2008 was Slumdog, 2010 was 127 Hours. This 28 years later is definitely Boyle's best movie since those. So we see a whole new family here. This is why you don't really need to have watched those first two, but we have a new family here, and we are in a slightly different area as well. We're still in the UK, but now we are on this British island. I forget the name of it. But we have Aaron Taylor Johnson as the father, Jamie, who is a scavenger, and he is trying to protect his family. The mother, played by Jodie Comer, is very sick. We don't exactly know what is going on with her. I'm not sure we ever really find out, but she certainly has hallucinations, and she's got a lot of physical issues. And then Alfie Williams, newcomer, I've not seen him in anything before. He had a very minor role in His Dark Materials, but he plays Spike, the 12-year-old son of these two, and basically he is going to go out with his father and try and have his first day of hunting and gathering, etc., trying to avoid the zombies, trying to avoid getting bitten, etc. And he's just not quite ready for it. He's only 12. He doesn't want to do it. But his father says, no, it's time. We got to go, make you a man, kind of a thing. And so you also have later on in the film, Ray Fiennes as a former doctor and survivor of the outbreak as well. He's off sort of in his own area, and so I guess that's all the premise that I'm going to give you for spoilers' sake. But let's talk about this movie. Boy, oh boy! I mean, this is the best of the series for me. For sure. Now, a lot of people may still have, fond memories of that first one. Like I said, when I rewatched it, it didn't hit me quite the same. But this really is a layered film. Now, I will say that if you are going into this expecting, nothing but a bunch of zombies and, Walking Dead style action and stuff, there's a little bit of that. But I think this movie is much more rich thematically than either of the other two films, and most zombie films I've ever seen, really. And my buddy Justin, who has come on this channel before, Justin Job. He gave us his top 100 movies a couple of years ago on the channel. He's been watching some of my videos and recommended to me, you should start talking about the themes in these movies. He's very, very big on themes for his own sort of grades. And I think this is a good video to really tackle these themes, because this movie is so rich in that area. And I think it may turn some people off, because I think this movie is a little more dense than your typical horror movie, your typical zombie movie, and certainly the other two in this series. Just from the jump, tackling the themes of family and this macho machismo that fathers want their sons to have. Toxic masculinity is sort of what we're calling it these days. But there's certainly some of that, in those opening moments where, he's really forcing his son to get out and shoot and all of this. But there's also obviously themes that they couldn't have known in those first couple of movies how, close to home it would hit. But now that we've experienced COVID and all of that, and we've experienced, being sort of secluded from the world and shut out and all of that, this movie kind of dives into those, not head on either. It really is still under the guise of a zombie apocalypse, as opposed to, something like COVID that we experienced. But a lot of those same feelings, I think, are present in this movie from what we felt, feelings of isolation, and the unknown of what will become of us as a people, let alone just individually. Those are explored here. And also, we've got, I think, a little more on the nose, which Alex Garland has been doing lately with movies like Warfare and Civil War. The idea of, militarism and authoritarianism and all of that, and sort of wanting to break free of that, as the child wants to do. It's Alfie Williams is the actor, but what's the character? Spike wants to do that. So those themes are explored too, and I think all of them are done fairly well. I don't think any of them are overly heavy-handed, because we're so invested with these characters. I think it is well written enough that they're not really hitting us over the head with them. But yes, when my buddy Justin said, you should really talk about the themes a little more in your videos, I thought, well, this movie is rich with themes to discuss. So I think thematically, this movie is leaps and bounds ahead of the other two in the series. Now, I will say there are some negatives here, not many though. Because we are looking towards the future of this franchise, because we have back-to-back movies here with the next one coming out in January 2026. The ending of this is a little bit bizarre. We have, and I'm not going to do spoilers, but we have, like a fairly conclusive ending, and then we see on the screen 28 days later, so now we're 28 days after the events of this film, and we meet a whole bunch of new people that I didn't know who they were. I had to go back, and I was like, well, I just watched those other two movies. I don't think that was a part of that, and sure enough, it was not. It is something brand new that we're going to sort of launch into the next one. I don't know that we necessarily needed that moment. The ending might leave a few people cold, because what the hell was that? Like, it ended pretty finitely, and yes, we can experience more with these characters as we move on, but as an ending of a film, it just seemed like sequel baiting, which I don't usually go for. So didn't love that. And look, I'm not a huge Aaron Taylor Johnson fan. I do think he was better here than in most of his films. But the real standout is this Alfie Williams. My God, I hope that we see more from him moving forward. And um, really have a way with these child actors. Danny Boyle, he did this great movie in, I want to say 2004 maybe, or 2005, called Millions, with this little kid that was so adorable. And that was uh, what might have been a jumping point. I don't remember seeing him in anything else after that. But even Slumdog, Dev Patel was not a child at the time, but certainly that was his first big movie. And Boyle really, really knew how to direct him. So yeah, he's always good with these younger actors, and Alfie Williams is a shining star, I think, and hopefully, well, obviously he'll be, the star of this next one, I guess, the Bone Temple. But branching out from the 28 series, hopefully he finds a nice career, because he was phenomenal in this movie. So yeah, overall, this was the strongest of the bunch for me in terms of the 28 films. I leave 28 years later with an A minus. And like I said, it is still in theaters a little bit, but you can definitely check it out now on demand for your home pleasure. All right, thank you so much for watching Dan Reviews It. I will see you next time.